If you don't own a Ford Puma, you probably know someone who does. It was the biggest selling car in the UK last year and has been a perennial favourite since it was introduced in 2019. Now it's out to extend that popularity to the electric car classes with this, the all-electric Puma Gen-E. Not that you would necessarily know that this is the electric one, because it does look, well, let's face it, very similar to the petrol-powered Pumas that are going to stay on sale alongside this one for the foreseeable. But there is a very obvious indicator, and that is the smooth grille. So it's all blanked off fascia, and it's very reminiscent of the Mach-E and the Capri, so it helps with aerodynamics, and it sort of brings it in line with the other electric Ford models. So that is all good, and I think it looks pretty good. It's all swoopy, recognisably Puma. It's still, you know, the same 4.2 metre long car, so it's nice and compact, but that grille lets you know that this has got a 43 kilowatt hour usable battery squeezed into that floor pan, and that gives this a WLTP range of up to 233 miles. That, by the way, makes the Puma one of the most efficient cars in the ever more competitive electric family car class, managing well over 5 miles per kilowatt hour officially. That means that the Puma could be one of the cheapest cars in the class to run if the real-world efficiency lives up to those figures. And the purchase prices aren't bad either. The Gen-E starts from just under £30,000, even with the freshly tweaked and upgraded dash materials, parking camera and 12-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or top-spec Premium costs under £32,000 and is complete with B&O sound system, matrix LED lights and keyless entry. Not only that, but Ford has also just announced its power promise, which has nothing to do with performance, but it does mean that you get a free home charger, 10,000 miles of free charging, and you also get 5 years free servicing. So, you know, it really is trying to sort of sweeten the deal a bit with electric cars, get people interested and make it easier for people to transition to an electric car for the first time, which I think is all good, really. It is maybe a bit of a disappointment that, yes, of course, you get the industry standard 8-year, 100,000 mile battery warranty, but the car's warranty itself is still only 3 years, so that's not going to blow you away next to the longer warranties from, you know, Kia, Hyundai, MG, Peugeot, all of that. But nonetheless, there is some really good deals going on there. And despite having that battery, it's still massive inside. Really impressive boot here. So 429 litres in this standard boot, which, don't forget, this is quite a compact car. It's barely any bigger than a Volkswagen Polo. So it's really huge boot, really good. Variable boot, and the Gigabox. Basically what most of us would just call underfloor storage, but there's a lot of it. Look, we've got cabin bags, we've got rucksacks, and then that's all under the floor, and then you can get loads more on top. So for a little car, this really is properly practical, and there is a very tiny, annoyingly narrow frunk that you're probably never going to use as well, but it is there just in case you want it. There is plenty of space in the rear seats too. There are others in the class that have more legroom, but you'll get 2 average-sized adults in the back of the Ford, no problem at all. So you're going to have to forgive me for not dwelling too much on the interior in the Puma. We are out on the international launch and we're a little bit stretched for time, but suffice to say it has been updated with some new materials, new touchscreen. I like the fact that you've got a physical button to change the drive modes. So you've got your normal, your eco, your sport, and even a slippery conditions button for when it's icy or snowy, that kind of thing. It's not the easiest touchscreen to use. I'd like a physical home button. I'd like some, you know, I'd like it to just be a bit more intuitive, but you do get used to it and it's got all the features you want. A weirdly massive steering wheel, I have to say, so it sort of seems to be kind of a slightly odd shape, but it's quite nice to hold. Nice slim steering wheel, no problem with that at all. Driving position's pretty good actually, so it's got good adjustment, manual adjustment, height, and you've got lumbar adjustment, so quite like that. Now, how does the Puma drive? So 8 seconds to 62, which I think is quite a sweet spot for balancing efficiency and performance. I'm going to talk to you more about the real world efficiency on this car in just a second. Yes, 8 seconds to 62 doesn't sound fast, but it's got enough oomph, it's got plenty of torque. In fact, you get a little bit of torque steer sometimes if you accelerate out of corners, because this is a front wheel drive car and it does put its power down and you can feel the wheels squirming a little bit. That kind of gives it quite a fun, scrappy kind of character. Sometimes the imperfections sort of make them more fun, don't they, I think? I like it. Nice steering weight. In sport, actually, and in the other modes, you can even have a propulsion sound. It makes a funny kind of sort of thrummy noise in the background. So here we go. If I just accelerate up here, you might be able to hear it. I don't know if you'll pick that up too well. It's a bit like having a motorbike following behind you, kind of in the distance. You can sort of hear that kind of like in the background. I don't really mind that. I quite like having sounds that enhance it a bit, that respond well to the throttle input, all of that. As long as you can turn it off, I'm all for it. That's all good. And this is quite subtle, so I don't think it's a problem. And I think the fact that the Puma just feels nice and taut, so goes into corners really nicely, and yet when you're around town, even when you go over quite sharp-edged kind of speed bumps and things, it's just nicely controlled. Nicely damped, decent body control. It's very chuckable. For an electric family car, which is what it is, I think this is right up there with things like Renault Megane. I think this is even up there with like the MG4. So definitely one of the more fun electric cars that you can buy. Ford have done their usual magic and made this really good and very easy to live with. So I think they've done a really good job of it. The electric Puma can charge it up to 100 kilowatts via the CCS socket that's placed in the wing of the car. That'll deliver a 10 to 80% charge in under 25 minutes thanks to the modest battery capacity. A full charge at a 7 kilowatt home charger will take around 8 hours. Now, I want to talk to you about real-world range and efficiency because the battery in the Puma is quite small, 43 kilowatt hours usable capacity. That's quite a lot smaller than the battery you get in a Jeep Avenger, an MG4, in any of the kind of obvious rivals for this car. And yet, the official range of 233 miles, which is a bit less if you go for the top spec premium that we've got here, is not far off what you get in cars that have normally got sort of 51, 54 kilowatt hour batteries, that kind of thing, because it's very efficient. I was driving this yesterday up in the mountains around Barcelona, quite quickly, a lot of motorway stuff. I got 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. That equates to a real world range of about, 190 miles. That's really good for a small battery. It's been a bit colder this morning and we got slightly less than that, so I think temperature's a factor, but still really good. Really well done with that, Ford. I would also add you have got a one pedal mode, so if you're going to spend a lot of time around town and you can use the one pedal mode, which I do find, if I've got anything to complain about with the driving dynamics in this car, I think the one pedal mode isn't the easiest I've experienced to kind of modulate and use smoothly. It's a little bit grabby, so that does take some getting used to. But still, great fun little car to drive, really efficient. Should they put a bigger battery in it so you get a longer range? Maybe. I think there are going to be a lot of consumers out there who are going to be a little bit edgy about the range on this car because it's got a smaller battery. Efficiency is more important, I think. Getting that message across might be interesting, but nonetheless, we'll see how it goes. Let's face it, the Puma Gen-E is going to live or die by its monthly cost, isn't it? It's going to be lease costs and PCP costs. Now, Ford are offering this car for about £350 a month with a £6,000 deposit at the moment. I think that's probably a bit too expensive, I'm afraid. I think probably it needs to come down a little bit more, but it will come down a little bit more because this car's just been launched, so it's got all that kind of shiny new initial flurry of interest. I'd give it a few months and I reckon you'll see some more competitive PCP monthly deals. That's not a bad deal, it's very competitive, but I still think Ford need to do a little bit better. In fact, I even heard on the grapevine that you can probably get a Ford Capri for lower monthly finance costs at the moment than you can the Gen-E. Still, list price and even those monthly prices, the Gen-E is a great package, really efficient, really spacious, really fun. I like it. It's really good. Head to CarGurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars, and while we've got you, please do like the video, leave us a nice comment and subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel.